菜根谭
Tending the roots of wisdom.
321形影皆去，心境皆空。
321. Forms and shadows both depart. The state of mind becomes empty.
菜根谭原文：礼记则是记，浅是直理者，似去影流行。心空则境空，去境存心者，如巨山确锐。
白话文注解：事理跟事情如影随形，事理没了，事情也就没了。抛开事物的变化却执拗义理的人，就像想要排除影子而留下形体那样行不通。心智和环境也是息息相关的，心境空灵，环境也就空灵。只想通过排除环境的干扰而保留内心宁静的人，就像聚集一大堆山味东西，却想排除以营一样愚蠢。
321-1. The principles and events are inseparable. Without the principles, there would be no events. Just like trying to eliminate a shadow while retaining the form is not feasible, someone who discards the fluctuations of things yet clings to principles is akin to attempting to remove the shadow and keep the form. Similarly, the mind and the environment are intimately connected. A serene state of mind leads to a serene environment. Those who solely focus on eliminating external disturbances to maintain inner tranquility are akin to gathering a pile of smelly things and wanting to eliminate only the ants and flies, which is foolish. Translated by Bayandefu.
321-2. When the principle is at rest, the matter is also at rest. Those who dispatch a matter, but still cling to its principle, get rid of the shadow and retain the form. When the mind is empty, the whole realm is empty. Those who rid themselves of the realm, but retain the clinging mind, are trying to shoo worms from slaughtered meat. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 321-3. When the idea of a thing is extinguished, the thing itself is extinguished. But when a person banishes a thing, and yet clings to the idea of it, this is like trying to get rid of the shadow while keeping the shape. The shape will still preserve its shadow. When the heart is made void, free from worldly thoughts, the environment it finds itself in will also become void. A person who wishes to make his environment void without making his heart void first, is like a man who puts out a piece of carrion and tries to drive the mosquitoes and flies away. It will not succeed. Translated by Paul White.
321-4. Principles are inseparable from the things they represent. If the principles are gone, the things cease to exist. People who disregard the changes in things but cling stubbornly to a single principle are like those attempting to eliminate the shadow while preserving the form. This approach is impractical. The mind and the environment are closely connected. A serene state of mind results in a serene environment. Those who aim to maintain inner tranquility by eliminating external disturbances, while accumulating unpleasant things, are akin to someone gathering a heap of malodorous items while hoping to get rid of ants and flies. Such an approach is foolish. Translated by Wen Lin.
322任其自然，万事安乐。
322. Let it be natural, and all things will be peaceful and content.
菜根谭原文：庸人轻视总在自恃，故久以不劝为欢，其以不争为胜，敌以无枪为势，秦以无贤为高，会以不欺约为真率，客以不迎颂为坦夷。若一千文泥迹，便落尘世苦海矣。
白话文注解：隐居之人处事只求怡然自得，所以喝酒不劝酒，下棋不争输赢，吹笛不论腔调，弹琴不拘弦律，相会不期预约，客访无忌迎送。如果拘泥于世俗人情礼节，就会落入尘世苦海，而毫无乐趣了。
322-1. A recluse seeks only contentment in their actions. Therefore, they don't force others to drink when they drink. They don't argue over winning or losing in chess. When playing the flute, they don't worry about the melodies. And when playing the zither, they aren't constrained by the rules of its strings. Meetings are unplanned, and guests are received without any particular formalities. If one becomes entangled in the conventions and social norms of the world, they might find themselves trapped in the sea of worldly suffering, devoid of true joy. Translated by Bian Defu.
322-2. The hermit is always at ease and composed in daily affairs. In drinking wine, the pleasure does not come from being challenged. In chess, the winning is not in the rivalry. In flute playing, the tone is not in the tunes. In lute playing, the height of enjoyment is not having any strings. In having guests who require neither welcome nor send-off, one finds candid ease. If there is even a trace of contrivance and formality, one falls into the worldly sea of bitterness. Translated by Robert Aitken and Daniel W. Wyckoff. 322-3. The recluse finds satisfaction in everything he does to kill time. He finds the greatest pleasure in drinking wine when no one urges him to. He revels in playing chess without rivalry. He finds flute music without a player most entertaining, and a zither without strings producing the sweetest sound. To him chance meetings are the best, and guests who need neither welcoming nor seeing off are the most candid. To engage in any of these pursuits, while rigidly adhering to mundane reasoning and formality, condemns one to the sea of bitterness which is the world. Translated by Paul White.
322-4. A person in seclusion seeks only tranquility and self-contentment in their actions. Hence, they don't insist on others drinking when they drink. They don't argue about winning or losing in chess. They play the flute without concerning themselves with the tune, and they play the zither without adhering strictly to the strings rules. Meetings are spontaneous and unplanned, and visits are without the constraints of formalities. If one becomes entangled in worldly customs and social conventions, they risk falling into the bitter sea of the mundane world, devoid of joy. Translated by Wen Lin.
323. 思及生死，万念灰冷。
323. Contemplating life and death. All thoughts turn to ash and coldness.
菜根谭原文：是思未生之前有何相貌，又思既死之后作何景色，则万念灰冷。一性既然，自可超物外游象先。
白话文注解：想想看，人在没出生之前是怎样的形体相貌？再想想，死了以后又是一番什么景象呢？想到这些就会万念俱灰，回复本性的单纯安宁，自然能超脱物外，遨游于天地之间。
323-1. Indeed, reflecting on how one's appearance is before birth and considering what might happen after death can lead to a sense of desolation. However, returning to one's innate simplicity and tranquility can naturally lead to transcending worldly concerns and experiencing a sense of freedom and harmony within the realm of existence. Translated by Bian Defu.
323-2. If you think of how you looked when you were born, or what you will be like after you die, your myriad thoughts will turn into cold ashes. With quiet recollection, you can transcend the myriad things and roam the world prior to their creation. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 323-3. If you try to contemplate what you were like before you were born and what you will be like after you die, all your thoughts and yearnings will disappear. All that will remain will be the unchanging stillness of your basic essence. Then you can transcend the world of things and roam in the world before the creation of the myriad things. Translated by Paul White.
323-4. Consider how one's physical appearance was before birth. Then, contemplate what kind of scene unfolds after death. Thinking about these matters can be disheartening. Returning to the simple and tranquil nature within allows for transcending external concerns and freely wandering between heaven and earth. Translated by Wen Lin.
324. 拙智之人，动竹机先。
324. The wise illuminate the machinery of events with discerning insight.
菜根谭原文：欲病而后思强之为宝，处乱而后思平之为福，非早治也。幸福而先知其为祸之本，贪生而先知其为死之因，其拙见乎？
白话文注解： 一个人在患病之后才体会出健康的可贵，遭遇变乱之后才思念太平时的幸福，这都算不上是什么先见之明，能预先知道侥幸获得的幸福是灾祸的根源，既爱惜生命而又能明白有生必有死之理，那才算是真知灼见。
324-1. Indeed, only realizing the value of health after falling ill, or cherishing peace and happiness after facing adversity, does not necessarily demonstrate foresight. True wisdom lies in recognizing that the fleeting happiness gained through chance can be the source of misfortune. To genuinely value life, while understanding the inevitability of death, is the mark of profound insight. Translated by Bayandefu.
324-2. It is not foresight to value health when you become ill or to appreciate the blessings of peace when you encounter turmoil. To be fortunate and perceive that fortune is the root of calamity, and to enjoy life and perceive that life is the cause of death, is this not an excellent way of viewing things? Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 324-3. To realize how precious health is after one has fallen ill, to appreciate the blessings of peace after having encountered turmoil, this cannot be called foresight. To be happy and perceive that happiness is the root cause of disaster, to crave life and perceive that life is the cause of extinction, this shows a high degree of perspicacity. Translated by Paul White.
324-4. A person may only realize the value of health after falling ill, and yearn for the happiness of peaceful times only after facing disturbances. These realizations cannot be considered as foresight. True wisdom lies in anticipating that the source of fortunate happiness can also be the root of calamity. Appreciating life, while understanding the inevitability of death, reflects genuine insight. Translated by Wen Lin.
325. 雌雄眼丑，俄而何在？
325. Exploring the male and female, refining the ugly. Suddenly, where do they reside?
菜根谭原文：庸人传粉条朱，笑眼丑于毫端，俄而歌残场罢，眼丑何存？义者争先敬后，教雌雄于卓子，俄而举尽子收，雌雄安在？
白话文注解：一人茶胭脂涂口红，化妆笔端勾画美丑，转眼曲终人散，方才的美丑又到哪里去了呢？棋盘上竞争棋艺，用棋子一决成败高低，转眼间棋局结束，棋子收起，方才的胜败又到哪里去了呢？
325-1. Artists apply makeup to enhance their appearances, using cosmetics to create beauty or hide flaws. But once the performance ends, where does that momentary beauty or alteration of appearance go? Similarly, in a game of chess, players compete to display their strategic skills, moving pieces to determine victory or defeat. Yet once the game is over and the pieces are put away, where does the outcome of triumph or loss vanish? Just like makeup and chess, the transient nature of external appearances and competitive endeavors reminds us of the impermanence of life's fleeting moments. Translated by Bayandefu.
325-2. Actors powder and rouge themselves, using the tip of the eyebrow pencil to produce beauty or ugliness. But when the show is over, what is left of beauty or ugliness? Chess players vie against each other, pushing their chess pieces to decide on victory or defeat. But when the game is over, who is the victor or the vanquished? Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 325-3. Actors use cosmetics and brushes to change their faces as they will, painting them to look attractive or hideous. But in the twinkling of an eye the performance is over, where now are the beauty and ugliness? Chess players strain every nerve to defeat their opponents. But in the twinkling of an eye the game is over, where now are the victory and defeat? Translated by Paul White.
325-4. Performers apply rouge and lipstick. Makeup brushes delineate beauty and ugliness. Yet as the performance ends and the audience disperses, where does the erstwhile beauty or ugliness go? On the chessboard, competitors vie with their chess skills, determining victory or defeat with each move. But in the blink of an eye, the game concludes, the pieces are put away. And where does the prior outcome of triumph or defeat disappear to? Translated by Wen Lin.
326. 自然真趣，娴静可得。
326. The true essence lies in nature. It can be found in tranquility and leisure.
菜根谭原文：风花之潇洒，许月之空清，为静者为之主；水木之荣枯，竹石之消长，独贤者操其权。
白话文注解：清风下花随风摇曳的潇洒，明月下积雪映月的空旷清宁，只有内心宁静的人，才是享受这种宜人景色的主人。水木的荣枯，竹石的消长，唯有心境悠闲的人，才能掌握它们的变化规律。
326-1. The graceful swaying of flowers in the breeze, and the tranquil reflection of moonlight on snow, are scenes that can be truly appreciated by those with a serene heart. The cycle of growth and decay in nature, like the flourishing of plants and the changing of seasons, can only be understood and embraced by individuals with a tranquil and unhurried state of mind. It is through this inner calmness that one can truly connect with, and perceive the natural rhythms and patterns of the world around them. Translated by Bayan Defu.
326-2. Only the one who is calm and composed can fully enjoy the beauty of flowers in the breeze and the transparent purity of the moon on a snowy night. Only the one who knows leisure can feel the blooming and decline of plants and the decay of bamboos and stones. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 326-3. The grace of flowers caressed by the breeze and the brightness of the moon on a snowy night can only be fully appreciated by one who has cultivated stillness of the mind. The expansion and shrinking of the groves and ponds, and the growth and decay of bamboos and rockeries can only be mastered by a person who has cultivated the art of utter relaxation. Translated by Paul White.
326-4. Under the gentle breeze, flowers sway freely. And beneath the bright moon, accumulated snow reflects a vast serenity. Only those with a tranquil inner self are the true masters of enjoying such delightful scenery. The prosperity and decline of trees, the growth and diminution of bamboo and stones, only individuals with a serene state of mind can comprehend and master the patterns of their changes. Translated by Wen Lin.
327. 天权欲淡，虽凡亦仙。
327. To be indifferent to worldly matters is to be like an immortal, despite being an ordinary person.
菜根谭原文：田父野叟，予以黄鸡白酒则欣然喜，问以鼎食则不知，予以运袍短褐则犹然乐，问以滚服则不识。其天权，故其欲淡，此是人生第一个境界。
白话文注解：跟乡下老农谈论黄鸡白酒，他们就会津津乐道；说到宫廷美食，就茫然不知；提起长袍短褂，他们就不由得眉飞色舞；说到黄袍紫蟒的官服，他们就一点也不懂了。这是因为农夫保全了淳朴本性，所以欲望淡薄，这是人生的第一等境界。
327-1. Engaging in discussions with rural farmers about yellow chicken and white liquor, they will eagerly share their experiences and knowledge. However, when the topic shifts to palace delicacies, they become unfamiliar. Mentioning simple clothes and attire, they become animated, but when discussing the elaborate robes and official attire of high rank, they are completely unaware. This is because the farmers have preserved their innate simplicity, leading to a contentment with modest desires. This state of mind represents the highest level of life's pursuits. Translated by Bayan Defu.
327-2. Offer rustic elders fat chicken and plain wine, and they beam with happiness. Tell them about sumptuous feasts, and they show no comprehension. Offer such people short jackets and hand-me-downs, and they grin with pleasure. Ask them whether they want embroidered robes, and they seem befuddled. Their nature is full, therefore their desires are minimal. This is how life ought to be. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 327-3. Mention plain boiled chicken and unrefined wine to country fellows, and their eyes will light up with joy. But tell them of sumptuous banquets, and their eyes will dull with a complete lack of comprehension. Discuss coarse rustic garb, and they will beam with pleasure. But quiz them about the gaudy robes worn by officials, and they will shake their heads in bewilderment. So we can understand that, as they have kept their original natures intact, their desires have been kept at a rudimentary level. This is the ultimate realm of pleasure human life should reach. Translated by Paul White.
327-4. When discussing yellow chickens and white liquor with rural farmers, they become animated and share their experiences. However, when the topic shifts to palace cuisine, they appear puzzled. Mentioning long robes and short jackets, their eyes light up with enthusiasm. But when it comes to the official attire of yellow robes and purple pythons, they seem utterly perplexed. This is because the farmers have preserved their simple and genuine nature, leading to a modest desire, which is considered the highest state of life. Translated by Wen Lin.
328. 本真即佛，何待关心
328. The true self is Buddha. There is no need to contemplate the mind.
菜根谭原文：心无其心，何有于观？世事曰：观心者，众增其障。物本一物，何待于其？庄生曰：其物者，自剖其同。
白话文注解：心中假如没有忧虑和杂念，又何必要下内省观察功夫呢？佛家说，主张观心的人，其实是在增加修行的障碍。天地间万物本来就是浑然一体的，何须人去划一？庄子说，主张其物的人，心里已经把本属同一体的东西分开了。
328-1. If the mind is free from worries and distractions, why bother with the effort of introspection and observation? The Buddhist perspective suggests that those who advocate the practice of observing the mind are actually adding obstacles to their spiritual cultivation. In the natural world, all things are originally interconnected. There's no need for humans to artificially impose a sense of unity. Zhuangzi's viewpoint implies that those who advocate the concept of equality of things are already creating a division in their hearts among things that should naturally be unified. Translated by Bayan Defu.
328-2. When the mind becomes no mind, what good is introspection? Buddhists maintain that those who examine their minds end up increasing hindrance. All matter is fundamentally the same, why should we sort it out? Zhuangxing said, those who try to sort out matter will discover its essential unity. Translated by Robert Aitken Daniel W. Wyckoff. 328-3. When your mind has been cultivated to the point at which it harbors no more worldly thoughts, what purpose does introspection serve? The Buddhist admonition to spend time looking deeply into the mind can only impede self-cultivation. The myriad things are identical in their essence, so what is the point of making special efforts to treat them equally? Zhuangzi's doctrine of the unity of all things in fact assumes distinctions where no distinctions exist. Translated by Paul White.
328-4. If the mind is free from worries and distractions, why bother with the effort of introspective observation? In Buddhist philosophy, it is said that those who emphasize observing the mind are, in fact, adding obstacles to their spiritual practice. In the unity of all things in the world, there is no need for human-made distinctions. As Zhuangzi expressed, those who advocate for unity among things have already mentally separated what naturally belongs to the same whole. Translated by Wen Lin.